Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome to another Tales of Web3. Today we are recording season 3, episode 14 with Elliscope, the co-founder of NAVI. How's it going, brother?
Hey, what's up, Ricky? Great to be here today. Just got back to the city. Very, very glad to chat. So, hey, everyone.
This is beautiful. First of all, first question for you, tell me about your name, dude. I love your name. I never met someone who his name is Elliscope. How did you get the name? Did you pick yourself, or someone gave it to you when you're in
Uh,
school?
yeah, so definitely, I came from the very international background. And when I was a kid, came to US to college study. I always don't want, always want to stay innovative. And this name, it's unique and hard to pronounce in certain ways. So I just named myself, and my parents like it, so we just made it.
Awesome. What does telescope mean? Is it like some like microscopic lenses where you can see stuff? Is that what it is?
So the term of that actually comes from explores through telescope. So always look side
Oh,
of your horizon and look for things. So, but my friend joke about I should open a nightclub with that name. So, but yeah,
I think it
yes.
would be a good name on a nightclub. But yeah, dude, love that name. Let's start this podcast by you telling us a little bit more about how you jumped into the crypto rabbit hole and the origin story of Navi.
Yeah, let's start with that. So, my background actually comes from extremely technical. Right after graduate, I work as an engineering a variety of Silicon Valley based companies, large scale distributed infrastructure, handling data streaming services, service billions of users. And after working over there with over 5 years of experience, it really got me wonder, like especially surrounded by the Silicon Valley culture, was how do we actually start something from ground up? I thankfully to my past experience, I was very, very lucky to see how do we handle large scale services that supports billions of users use cases at very low latency. However, it got me
Mm.
thinking, how do I do things that start from ground up? Actually, Navi itself is already my third startup. Before Navi, I tried one Web2 startup, joined a Web3 startup as a product manager, where I learn and capture and just like by following the great leaders in space, learn all the DeFi concept. At the
Nice.
beginning of 2023, I figured it was a good time for me to explore and gather my good buddy from back in college, my co-founder. We knew each other over a decade. Both worked at San Francisco back in the days. To really thinking about how do we build this new horizon of DeFi, leverage the like the Silicon Valley resource that we were very fortunate to have, and to build services that serve the broader audience. So, and last but not least, the name Navi actually came from the region that Navi means be kind to people, and the reason why we picked that,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah, the reason we picked that name specifically because we do believe that DeFi was extremely hard for everybody, and we want to build a product services with a vision that make it more accessible, not only just to Web3, but more accessible to Web2 as well.
Got it. That's pretty beautiful. Let's talk about Navi, right? Because when we first met, it's my first Sui event ever, right, on East Denver this year.
Uh-huh.
And I was as a Ethereum maxi myself. I wouldn't call maxi, but my entire crypto journey is around surrounded with the Ethereum stuff like that. So for you, like a serial entrepreneur with strong technical background, right? Why would you choose launching this DeFi protocol on Sui? Like I know they have pretty good connections and resources in the valley, obviously. But what else? What is the reason why you decided to build one of the largest DeFi protocol? And so that's question one, right? The question two is, what is the difference you feel like building on three, other than building on Ethereum or Solana or all the other ecosystems? So please.
Exactly. So that's a fantastic question. So I think the number one question is, what got me so to Sui as a blockchain? And fundamentally, when I was researching variety of Optune ecosystem, the one thing that really highlights is I think the general landscape of the Sui ecosystem, the team, the background, and the way that they communicate and tackle down the big challenges. They're very, very focused, as well as just like have variety of background that can sustain, become the necessity of a successful blockchain. By which what I mean is all the co-founders they already at their like 50s, 60s, 50s, 40s, and already have like lots of experience running a company really at scale, and they're not looking for short-term gains that just to upside their personal net worth, but really just to build great, identify great technology uh, as to grow. So by communicating with them, I sense the great patience behind the background. They're not rushing to say, hey, we want to achieve $1 billion TV on the first year of launch, which fortunately they did. And they are not very in a rush. And they always come up with more reasonable plan to execute. By communicating with them, I can sense that there's a sustainability that can be developed as a lifetime partner and ecosystem project by building together with a sweetie. And this is only the year 3 of us building. We start to feel the compounding effect of the growth. So that got me really, really excited.
I
And the
think this
set,
is the golden ages, right? This is definitely the best times to build on Sui.
absolutely, absolutely, yes, yes. So this is very different from Ethereum. I personally just believe different ecosystem and different way of accessing the market. So, and the second question regarding what is like to build on Sui, right? Like from developer standpoint, the keywords I will use to describe is I can sense the compounding effect very significantly.
Oh,
So what does that mean? So the biggest difference between EVM and move based ecosystem as a developer is it's the move is very like very early stage, very nascent. But that means there's a developing tool back in 2 years ago when we were start building the tooling, infrastructure, indexing, Oracle services, it was not available. And any integration with the exchange, it is very, very slow because the whole tech stack needs to be rewritten in a new language. And the disadvantage of that was everybody who choose to stay become very, very good at understanding of the move language itself, become the expert. The drawback of this is things were growing very slow. However, at the later stage, which is what we're at right now, 2 years later, everybody who has been within the ecosystem since day one already naturally become the leader of the tech, the business, the growth. So that this is what I mean by the compounding effect. I feel very, very strong. Back to what you were saying, that was the first three event you went to. That was actually the 10th like three event I've been to. So I can feel the compounding fact that is constantly improving regardless of the market cycle. So like last but not least, I think that is something that really motivates me to pull forward.
got it. As long as I think there's a core that really make everybody aligned, the entire, I'd say, that no matter narratives or contributions people are putting into the move or the Sui ecosystem is just going to accumulate more and more throughout the cycles.
Yep.
I think that I really agree with that. Like standing from your perspective, what do you think about like the future of all these different kind of VMs, right? Like there's the move, there's the EVM, there's the SVM, like a bunch of things. Do you think in the future it's gonna be like a winner take all situation? Do you think, like what do you think about that? Like the future landscape of crypto in terms of like different ecosystems and chains?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my philosophy on this is I do believe ecosystem like a world of variety VM, and everybody that's been stickily building variety of VM will stay there as OGs and help the ecosystem propel. And I am ready to stay with the Sui move for long term. That's first of all.
Nice.
Second, I think I think the variety of the VM, well, there are gonna be new ones coming up, and new ones die out, and new ones, like launching with new narrative. There may be new move chains coming up with different verticals you want to tackle upon, building variety of infrastructure for trading, for gaming, for consumers specifically move chains. So I do believe this is like the Big Bang theory, right? Let's say if Ethereum Vitalik started its EVM as the beginning of the fish, because every human was actually evolved from fish. The very first fish, this move sway actually came from the very first fish as well. If you visit the Met at the New York City Gala, you will be able to see how diversified this fish actually evolved into a variety of, like animals. And yeah, so eventually human, we're just like one possibility out of many. So yeah, that I think that is a great way of describing how many chains
I love that.
what's a VM chain look like.
And you guys are definitely one of the genesis, I don't know, fish in the Sui ecosystem. That's super fun. I like that. I like that. So, like for our audience who don't know much about like NAVI, right? Like why you guys wanted to build a lending market. Right now, I think you guys are also covering other stuff like LSDs and stuff. But like why you started building a lending market?
Yeah. So this is actually something I always ask myself and challenge myself, like the most, which is every time I'm making a decision, making something, I was like, hey, what are the fundamentals? Can we start with the fundamentals and making sure we're not limited by those glass ceilings that in the very early of the discussion we were not able to project, and this is one of them. Because let me make a reference. Let's say if Sui is this newly established Abu Dhabi, new nation with lots of great capitals that are looking to establish a new nation. Every time when a new nation is established, the two factor that needs to be installed to make this new nation's economy successful, policies and government policies, and as well as financial institution. Financial institution, there are two parts. Number one, which is the market, the exchange business. Number two, which is a banking ecosystem. Because fundamentally, any economic transaction that's been happening on this new nation needs to happen on the market. And for everything to have the compounding effect of the growth, retails or institution needs to take leverage on their existing asset class. So based on those
I see where you're going.
Exactly. So based on those two fundamentals, we deeply believe that the banking ecosystem has a much more longevity and to grow with the nation for its ultimate success. And on the other side, like the reason, there's market, there's banking, why we choose lending as a business, because lending has this most strong compounding effect of credibility. So what does that mean? So if you name a few big name banking ecosystem in the US and global, they all have been existing for decades, if not hundreds.
Yes, I think hundreds of years at least.
Exactly. So Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, and they were all named after someone's last name, and even merged together with two people's last name together.
Yes.
So yeah, so we sense strong of that compounding effect. So we want to capture the advantage that we were the very early ones that have been within the ecosystem, and continues to iterate and grow with this volume, with this credibility to establish brand. So we can be sustaining billions, if it's not trillions, TVL and volumes when the timing is right. We're talking about 3 years, 5 years, even 10 years.
I like that. It's interesting that you talk about like the TVLs, because before, I'd say in previous cycles, right? If you're a DeFi protocol or like a project in general, right? People look into TVLs a lot, right? The higher the TVL you get, the more important or the more respect you get, right? The more credibility you get. But like starting this cycle, you actually started to see like people are saying a lot of the TVLs aren't a really great metrics to evaluate if a project is decent or not. You know where I'm going to. What do you think about TVLs? Obviously, it's really, really important for you guys. But like beyond what you guys are building, what do you think about this TVL game that crypto is playing? Right? You definitely see like the fade started to gradually fade a little bit, right? But in the long term, I think it's still going to be here.
Yeah, that's a very very deep question. So DeFi game has always been a competition for volume TVL, which is a representation of credibility to some extent. However, one thing we did learn with the with the chase of TVL is the organic growth and um, user experience with the product. You know, like how many users you can acquire through this each marketing campaign, and the time spent, the organic growth of users, that is not going to change because of you have a significant TVL. Like it might helps to establish early credibility, but true demands comes from real users getting comfortable with your product,
I can't
under,
agree more. Yes.
understanding what financial leverage and risk they're taking, and attempting on this. I was actually chatting with some, like senior leaders yesterday. For every product that's been existing on this world, this conversion rate through this cycle is extremely low. So every builder needs to be
Yes.
patient. Yes.
Because everyone is using the incentive to surge their TVLs for a period of time. And after that, people or the money just flow going to another ecosystem, another project that provide higher incentives, right? That's exactly the reason why I'm really interested on your takes on this.
Exactly. Yeah. I think you mentioned a great point, right? Like the reference I usually make is a gigantic DeFi protocol that accumulates billions of dollar TVL within a very short period of time right after launch in a new chain is almost like like it's a rural city that has no transportation infrastructure, banking ecosystem developed, even not even an ice cream shop there yet, but it has a gold vault, like just like people putting gold over there to show how important and how rich this nation is. The true economy underlying this rural city doesn't sustain because the organic building of transportation, education, everything for this nation or city needs to take time. So, and like that's why we have been within this ecosystem for 2 years. I do believe any lending, any DeFi that's been launching on Neo Chain, the founder needs to have the patience and align this patience with the ecosystem to making sure that they feel the longevity of the DeFi protocol. Otherwise, people might just call it a rock pool or like a short-term thing.
100%. Oh my God, like patience is such an important thing in our space right now. Like it's just like so important. And like it's really like ironic that in Web2, if you're like entrepreneur, you understand what us growth means, right? You understand like if you wanted to do this, if you want to get that, like how much time it normally will take. But in crypto, it just everything is just like way too accelerated. And whenever there's like a new narrative going on, people try their best, if not like going all in to capture that. But like oftentimes, like if you're not patient enough to just really stick to your own convictions on your own product, the fundamentals, like there's no way you're gonna be make it in even like the Nike cycle. So yeah,
Certainly,
that's
yes.
patient.
Yes, patience is key factors besides, hustling and trying variety of things. Yeah.
How do you how do you and your team practice that? Because I believe everyone doesn't just born with patience. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely a period of time like where you guys are tempted to build, like you know what I mean, right? If the meme coins are there, like there's the attempt, right? Like should we launch this? Should we launch that? Like how did you guys practice or train yourself to really be patient and just to build this ecosystem that you guys believe in will really win the long term game? Like how?
Oh, oh man, gotta be honest, it's not easy.
Yeah, I know,
It's not
That's
easy.
why I really wanted to dig like really deep. Like, how do you guys think about like the way that you guys do things? Like,
Yeah. First of all, from the fundamental, for every team that joined the company Navi, one key message I've been communicating with them every day of the company culture was, you know what, I'm not building a team that only gonna succeed in Web3. Me and
oh,
my co-founder, we're looking to build a team that is able to sustain deliver great product, and run great marketing campaign, regardless of its EVM, move, Web3 or Web2 at all. Let's say if tomorrow, with a blink of eyes, like the Web3 vanish, I still want us to be healthily run as a team to be able to survive in this Web2 world. So this has been the company culture since day one. I communicate with my team, that there's ups and downs, but I want everybody to feel that this is part of company culture. Secondly, we do, everything that I learned from my previous company, LinkedIn, in terms of personal growth, yearly like performance review, everything, just as a normal company, to ensure that every individual within the company, they're not just receiving the financial upside, but also, like personal skill wise, experience wise, communication style, they really actually have the career progression within their, time and not. So I like by based on those two facts, I think thankfully, my team really aligned with this, and everybody who has been very fortunately become the pillar and contributing to this vision, that like become part of this vision and understand this culture. So like again, by focusing on that, I think enables me and my team to continuously, patiently iterate new product, try out new ideas, and always challenge ourselves.
Dude, this is awesome. Like like this insights. I think it's actually pretty bold when you say like if Web3 vanished today or tomorrow, like you guys gonna still stick as a team to do things and win the war in Web2. Because I do think a lot of like the roles or jobs in crypto is more like functional, if you know what I mean. Like they're not trying to like, if they hire you, they're not trying to like cultivate like a long-term like relationship, or like even thinking about like how I can help you grow as a person, right? They really only need like your skill set right now to grow this TVL, to run this marketing campaign and stuff. So dude, I really, really respect on this side of things.
Thanks. Yeah, like this is just something we learned. I to be honest, on the person note, my co-founder, we joke about it all the time. We cannot imagine when we're like 40, 50 years old, still running between conferences like a 20 years old, pulling group chat together, right? Like we really want to leverage the resource, the capability that we learn to tackle down more challenging tasks instead of just launching a product in 2 to 3 months. But I'm not criticizing anything. I'm just saying the ecosystem, the space, the industry needs its time to for early builders to become maturity and to learn how to win nurture more sustainable industry. So yeah, this is just very early regardless.
Got it. That's awesome. Like, let's going back to you. And so I feel like all the founders, they do have their own like superpowers, like namely on the technical side of things, namely on like the fundraising, running a business. Like, what do you think is your superpower? Because obviously I know you're coming from like a technical background, right? But still, you are extremely into startups. As you said, this is your third startup, right? So what is your superpower?
Uh, yeah, I do believe that the skill set, the power that I was able to have, be able to carry his team, the two parts. And number one, I think, is to be able to personally, I'm able to manifest what a successful story look like.
Oh,
Manifest this successful story to me, to myself, to deep down convince me, hey, this is the amount of resource we need to allocate because this is the potential, the upside we can potentially achieve. Constantly having this meditation session with myself to think too logically and chat with a bunch of close friends, advisors to concrete this thing from a blurry ideas to a very touchable imaginary city. So I think this is something I personally have been focusing a lot in terms of growth. Secondly, every time when there's a conflict, there's a lot of team discussion between my co-founder and I, product strategy, how do we execute things, and long-term vision specifically. I think I'm thankfully very fortunate to very good at making references of like very abstract things to the real world life example.
I
Um,
saw that you used the city example a couple times before. I love that. I think it's really concrete.
yes, so I started to realize this gave me tremendous amount of powers, and in terms of conveying a very, very abstract ideas, but a broader audience can understand deeply, because like it or not, Web3 is extremely small. Like it's probably like if you think
It
if you
is. It is.
yeah, if you think Web3 is big, if you go talk to 10 people on the street, nobody knows it.
Yes.
So I think the power of conveying those messages across variety of medias in a much more user friendly way, instead of just keeps dropping buzzword and waiting for users to Google it, and that will be the superpower that really pushes the industry towards the next scale. So this is something I do believe that I got fortunately good at, and have been spending more time to like just make it better.
Do you think this power comes from like it's just you're born with, or is this something that you actively been practicing for years? Because I know like not everyone is good at that. Like rarely people have the skill of like turning something really obscure right into like something that really clear for like normies to understand. Like and also for founders, I think it's really interesting because Jason, like the co-founder of Star Protocol, like
Uh-huh.
he was on the pod before and he shared similar stuff. But he
Yes.
think his power is he's able to see like a problem, right? That he just wanted to solve that is out there. That people probably think about, okay, this is a problem too, but there's no way they know the path to the problem, right? Because they're here, the problem is there. Like he said, his ability is to nail down the problem, right? The really obscure, like way far away, like problem into like a concrete steps and product, and lead his team on like exact ways of approaching and solving that problem eventually. So
Mhm.
I do think that is like a really cool power. I believe you got that too. But like how? Like I still think this is not something that you are born with, right? Did you read a lot? Do you think reading helps?
Um, I like, to be honest, I never thought of why, but I just started like by experience and practices, I started to realize it's much more effective communication, and people you generally have great feedback for this. Um, like looking back, I think the technical background helped me to start practicing this mindset, because when I was working as a search infrastructure engineering at LinkedIn, and when I was doing computer science stuff, back learning computer science back in college, if you cannot make a reference of, hey, why are we doing this in the real world life example, simple things can be, hey, if we have 10 apples, right, and if you have a fridge, what is a cache, right? Like the definition of that is like, hey, if you have a fridge and you have a plate, if you want to eat an apple, you don't just, like, very frequently, you don't just keep all the apple in the fridge. Every time you need an apple, go to the fridge, pick it up. What you do is you put all the apple on a plate, which is a cache, put it in between fridge and you, so that you can more easily access it, right? So
Oh,
so those engineering concept of referring things really got me excited, and I just like figured out, if I cannot explain things very in simple words to people in a very effective way, then probably it's my problem, or this business idea doesn't work. So
I see.
yeah.
This is awesome. This is awesome, dude. Is your co-founder technical too, or he's the business guy?
We're actually both technical. Yes.
Oh shit, that's fun. That's fun.
Yes.
Like, dude. So normal like startups, right? If I'm a VC, if I saw like two technical guys running, obviously my assumption is you guys don't know how to run a company, right? You don't know how to manage people, how to grow. But obviously you can build good product, right? Like what is it like in early days? You and your co-founder when you first started, like two technical co-founders. What is the hardest thing like for you guys like to build Navi, right? Especially in the early days, you have to build a team, you have to get all these bunch of resources, fundraising and stuff. Like, tell us the stories from the early days.
Yeah, so thankfully, like my co-founder Charles and I, we all had startup before,
Oh,
both
nice.
founding startup before. So the the early days of communication style, and we had this professional experience. I really understand what to, like, when there's bad decision happening, not to take it personally. So I think we really vibe on that. That we were able to keep everything very professionally at the professional level, communication style, ideal, design idea, and debating new things, etc. The early days challenging mostly came from the fact that how do we convince ourselves of this idea, and how do we, especially from technical engineering point, how do we devote as much resource to convince the team constantly to look into this idea and become the forerunner in terms of adopting this new technology. I think that is a challenge that we were facing.
So it's about alignment. So it's about alignment internally first before you go out and conquer the world with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing we learned, is this iterative method that we have been started practicing even when we were engineering background, because I think that really helps a lot, is don't come up with anything too magnificent in the very day one. Just come up with something that's small, niche, and growable, and build a product out of this. Continue to invest in resource to see how that goes, and then if that goes well, double down the resource and continue to grow. So we set reasonable milestone to achieve. That is kind of the Silicon Valley Facebook culture, build it and break it fast culture that really help us to grow. Now since we're managing like hundreds, almost like $1 billion TVL, we have been educating ourselves, running a team much more strategically, building monitoring ecosystem infrastructure that sustain the longevity and making sure everything is looking correctly, easy to identify the unhealthiness that's been happening on the ecosystem. So yeah, just like different startup, we already bypass the stage of building and breaking fast stage, and yeah.
Right now it's all about growth, and it's such an amazing story. You guys from a team of 2. Right now, how many people you guys got? More than
now we got like 25 now, and like
nice.
Almost like 1/3 of them based in US, and the rest spread across.
This is awesome. Do you enjoy more on like designing the product, the technical side of things, or are you enjoying more on like the growth, the business, the management side of things?
To be honest, I enjoy more of building the product and growing it, but because of the scale that we need to grow, we have been, my co-founder and we have been crystal clear communicating that I'm like we he handles more technical product side. I making sure that there's a food on table. So
I think like if you're a founder, like in the end of the day, it's really just like you just have to take care of everything. Like and oftentimes you have to sacrifice things that you don't want it to do, but you are not bad at, right? You're good at it oftentimes. So just have to get it done. All right. So at this stage, right, you guys, I wouldn't even call this a startup yet, because you guys, as you said, are already managing like almost $1 billion worth of asset, right? So at this stage, what is the hardest thing for you guys? Is it growth? Is it managing a really organic, high growth community? Is it the token itself? Like, what are things that are keeping you up at night?
Well, I would probably say like what are the things that don't keep me up at night. So, give me a piece of sleep. So back to that, actually, number one, like I mentioned, what doesn't keep me up at night is security. Like, I don't think any team within the DeFi ecosystem, especially a lot of new builders coming to DeFi, really understand the level of security and the necessity that we as a team needs to put on like alert. Like this is product side, operational side, as well as when it's at extreme condition, when actually something happened, how do we react immediately? So thankfully, like me as a founder, I experienced something hacking before, like really observe and become the first responder to handle that around like $15-20 million hack funds being recovered. And luckily
nice.
we recovered the funds.
That's nice.
Yeah, and thanks to that experience, sometimes even though like involuntarily, I was still being put into chat to help hacking that's been happening on the like not in the industry, to help solve and tackle down. Like those handling ad hoc experience help me understand deep down, how important the security is. So we're not, to be honest, we're not looking to like immediately fast growing. We're much more focusing on, at this stage, focusing on how do we build a robust infrastructure, how do we run our team and get everybody on board for this security practice, that people really understand that what we're holding responsible for. I'm not looking for like 2 billion, 3 billion flashy numbers, my face of the media where I have to stay up at night. That's not something I'm looking for long term. So security
Dude,
is number one.
that's like we will dive into number two, but like I just want to say I do think this is a really really wise decision, because we do see there are DeFi protocols who go on like 5 billion plus like TVLs or way beyond that, right? And the security is often like one thing that people overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you get that far, probably because you are experienced but like the first time founder in DeFi who tends to think about like this as a girls game, right? The bigger the TVL I have, the bigger the valuation I should have, and stuff like that. So I really respect the fact that you put security as no one, because the user's asset need to be protected. Oh my God, there's so many stuff happening in this space, and on chain is, for me, is really a dark forest, right? So that is that. I do have some friends and listeners of the podcast who are actually building a DeFi protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're just starting, right? Not that big. But what are let's do three. What are the three really concrete thing that you will say if you're a DeFi protocol you must do on the security side of things? Like not the beginner level, right? The multi-sig and stuff like that, but like the three must do's, the more advanced stuff that you guys are implementing or you already realized these are the most important stuff or the steps.
Yeah. So I will probably just break it down like to three aspects, right? Like
Yes.
I think that would be easier. I think number one is the human respect, the team operation perspective. Like everybody needs to be understand this 24/7 security mechanism. If something goes off, how do we reach the decision maker that has a power to quickly react and respond? This 24/7 alerting system, and everybody knows the protocol standard. It's like hey, if a plane hits a building, what is the security protocol that nation needs to take action to prevent future things happening? I think that is really important. Human factor always coming first, and be communicative, be educational with the team about this standard, making sure everybody's aware. So, yeah.
So
Second,
human.
yeah, human factor. Second is security structure design. Who has the power under what conditions? Who has power to shut down or stop the bleeding? Close a pool in any way that is possible. It can be partially close a pool, immediately shut down, and communicate with the exchange of the potential hacks, seeking for help when things happen. So I think the protocol design is really important. For example, for us internally, we have designed this multi-sig hardware ledger design ecosystem fully run. We have a fully embedded backend that monitoring the health factor, everything, and we also have this balance book which kind of tracks every wallet, the whole bookkeeping. What does the balance look like? If there any, for example, what we implement is if there's any withdrawal $5 million on platform, we will get notified. And for any kind of big amount that goes beyond that, there's a certain security protocol we will be implementing. So basically, the team will be notified within 10 to 15 minutes. And at extreme cases, if something happens, my co-founder and I and another multi-sig, two out of three, will be able to immediately execute. And we also have the single power to shut down the protocol,
Got it.
with one person. So of course, this kind of power is only given to very credible partners within the company has been there for them. But I do believe those things are very necessary. Yeah. So last but not least, something I think that is more preventative, and when extreme things happening, I think just be transparent and open about it. I think the industry has been lacking of transparency. And if you look at the story, how Ben from Bybit did the PR for this like astounding amount of hack,
Yeah.
you will realize truly from the bottom of your heart, just like how much confidence you need to have for yourself, the team, to be able. I watched the whole PR, like
Yeah, the live stream and stuff, right?
exactly like Ben was so calm. He was like unwavering, just say, hey, we're gonna get it done. This is what happened. I signed this multi-sig and this thing happened. You know, full transparency. This is the best PR handling that I ever observed, you know, in the space. And Ben, as an Asian entrepreneur, I think he demonstrated his great vision and determination, just that really just put everybody at like a relief. So even when things like this happen, to be honest, like I think transparency communication is really important. You know, it might be hard, challenging, things might go wrong. Everybody might tell you not to do something, but transparency is a key. And I strongly believe it echoes with every community member in the space. So, yeah.
Got it. Thanks for the 3 points.
Hopefully that answers that question.
Thanks for the small hardcore lecture. I love that. It will be put into like a small clip for people to just specifically check that. For the Ben part, I think he did an extraordinary job. You saw his whoop, right? There's a screenshot of how calm he is for the entire. Oh my god! so that is pretty cool. But like, yeah, going back to the question, what are things that are not keeping you up at night? The first thing is definitely under security. Like, what are you were about to talk on the second point?
Yeah, the second point is I will make sure this is the last point so we can get the next one. So the second point is I think just finding the rhyme of the company, of the speed that we are moving forwards and attracting talents in that way, I think is really important. Something what I started to learn is having a more better plan and sometimes delay a few meetings, really get everybody aligned before we put down execute this product is really important than just jumping straight and do it in a like a very, very fundamental startup way, especially when you're running a 25 people team. Having roughly a monthly plan, quality plan, so people can feel more mature, reliable to execute. I think that is really important. So from the company standpoint, even though the space is moving very fast, everything might happen within a week, 2 weeks ish. I think constantly building up that momentum, that iterative methodology among teams, among product iteration, and set up reasonable goal to evaluate the growth period. Like if you, for example, one thing I usually practice is every time we launch a new product, if you look at the product scope in 2 weeks time, it might look like a failure in compare with, how we achieve for NAVI on first 2 weeks. But if you look at the product scope for like a year, 12 months, that might look like success. The quick example I give is we made this acquisition of the liquid staking protocol of Sui back in February last year, while we were doing token launch. It was not it was a sizable deal for Navi at the time. And at the time when we made the acquisition, the liquid staking token protocol was only at 20 mil TVL, which is around like 10K users. And we just organically grow it and maintain it and operate. It's been like a year time. It reached all-time high TVL of 2050 mil. And close to close to like 300K users. So if you look back, like, to be honest, we didn't do much yet because I'm still aligning a lot of resource to grow, to figure out the best strategy. But the patience, by looking back, I was like, oh, really having a strategic investment in the early days and making sure that the team we're sticking behind this background, understanding this is part of us. That is something really gonna stick out in long term.
Love it. And in the end of the day, it's still about like building in long term, believing in the vision. Just hustle the way out. Like sooner or later, you will see the result. Probably not tomorrow. Absolutely. Probably not next week, but in a few months, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, I think this is something. It's hard to adopt, to be honest. Like while I was hustling all my first 6 months, tricky, but like gradually, thankfully, I think we're at a scale try to just like level up our methodology and strategy.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Let's get to the next question. What are some extremely hot and controversial takes that you have for our space lately. I'm putting you on the hot seat, and I love something that is really spicy. Like the hotter, the better.
Yeah. So, I think anyone who is building like looking for like immediately return or upside, they're not putting the retail first. Like, like like someone gonna roast me on this, but for example, right, this whole risk-taking thing,
Yes.
this risk-taking thing, the fact of confounding more, like making more complex, it was never put retail at first, because retail, like average people, my mom, my dad, my parents, my cousins, they don't even understand what is blockchain yet, and people start dropping buzzwords like, hey, risk-taking, more yields, blah blah blah. This is like you're going to like third world country like Thailand. You tell everybody, hey, you shouldn't open one ice cream shop at one time. You should open three.
Oh,
And
which is bad.
why
Doesn't make
people don't-
sense.
why people don't even have the luxury of enjoying ice cream yet? I yeah, like this whole risk-taking thing backed by VC, Ethereum, a lot of great talents. Well, I mean, so-called great talents in EVM world, right? Got super excited about this. I just think it never. I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying they never put retail first. And I think as an OG of Ethereum community, they need to start thinking, how do we make retail more people adopt, instead of just say, hey, how do we create more
New narratives to pump up the tokens,
Exactly.
to pump up the valuation and dump on people.
Exactly. So yeah, so that is just my take. But the world evolves other ways. I think this is something why I like Sui people. They are very down to earth, not in the sense that, like, if they host the events, they know 100K is a lot of money. They don't just throw money because they're rich. They really understand 100K can change a people's life in a developing country, and they evaluate every growth metrics based on that fundamentals in their mind. They don't just say, hey, we threw 100K, we threw a million because we can potentially reach 100 million, 1 billion. Their methodology doesn't think that way. And I think that keeps them always very on the ground. On ground, they say, hey, this is the amount of money we grow, and this is the metric we need to achieve. Yeah,
this is awesome. Practitioners, on the ground practitioners who really wanted to just build utilities and real adoptions.
Yeah, just be pragmatic, yeah.
Are there like risk-taking stuff going on in the Sui ecosystem?
Too? Hell no.
No? Yeah, that's why you said this is a hot take, right?
Well, okay. Well, a hot take. Well, I'm not saying that there won't be in the future. If you can, if you already become the, how do I say, if you create the Popeyes of the fried chicken, then you should probably open Popeye in Denver, New York City, all the place in one time.
But there need to be a Popeye first, without like the 3 shop or the 5 shop and the 10 shop.
Exactly. So you need to be the Popeye first. You need to become the Salt and Straw first. You need to become the whatever, the Xicha of the Chinese version first before you're doing that, right? So,
all right, this is beautiful. Next question, the most interesting question that I ask every single guest that hop on. Give me your Tales of Web3 story. A story, the most interesting story, right? One single one in all these years in your crypto journey. Probably building NAVI, right? Like the story itself can be about full of randomness, risk-taking. It can be about you build a product, or something even just silly or just random, right? Take your time to think about it and give us a story. The goal is basically when our audience hear about the story, they know more about you, Elliscope. And they know this is only something that you could have done in the past that shaped you, a dope-ass founder today. So the stage is yours.
Wow. I gotta be honest, I didn't read that question before. I don't know where did it pop up. So, the story I want to share, putting aside NAVI, I think I want to share more like personal part, right? So, whether you're building a DeFi consumer apps in this fast-growing space, um, the challenging fact that I always constantly see these from everybody is, hey, if you had experience building this, it's much more easy for you to succeed. People usually have this assumption. However,
Yes.
based on the tremendous amount of funders that I thankfully to get in touch with, to be honest, I don't feel that way. I feel everybody's challenged at different scales, and it's not easy regardless of where you're at. So be kind, be genuine to everybody. Some things everybody just climb their own road, and really thinking about long term, who you meet, who you align, who trusted you, and carry with you for a long term. I think that is really important. Um, the story that I echo with this is, I gave a little bit sugar talk about how we started Navi back then. It seems like everything was done like in a day, but how my co-founder and I, we actually really got together was, um, I flew to his house like even before I had this new idea. I just knew I want to do something, and I don't know what name it is. I don't know which chain will I be building, but I knew exactly at that moment, hey, I want to spend the next couple of years doing something, and I'm willing to take all the risks to talk to people. And I flew to his house in San Francisco from New York City, and I literally just told him, "Hey, can I come to crash at the house for a week? I want to discuss about something with you. I know I think this is really serious." He was like, "Yeah, come." And I flew in. He like uninvited, and I just remember there was a very like a very very poor sofa that he probably got it back from his holidays, right? And I was living one of the guest rooms, and every day we were sitting on the sofa discussing about potential ideas and things, what we can do for a week time. And he was very busy. He had another startup back in the days. And he was very supportive, spending our time and chatting with me. And that wait time sets a tone for just everything we were having for. So that was exactly one day before my birthday. I told him,
Dude, that's epic.
yeah. And what's funny? This year, I was like San Francisco a couple of weeks ago. I flew back to his house. The sofa was still there.
Dude, that must be there because you've crashed on there before. That's the start of you
Yeah,
guys'
like
journey, right?
exactly. Yeah, like you're looking back. Every time I look at so far, I just feel like we had no funding. Like try to even convince him that we're gonna be fine. I paid the first auditing fee myself.
Oh shit.
And so it's just like I think the early days, if you're looking back, the initial synergy, it was very very hard to curate. And for every founders, every builders, everybody, Ricky, I'm sure you knew this the best. Like once you started, you can never look back.
Yes.
Yeah, that was just like a little story I want to share. Every time when I visit his house, I saw that so far he has a beautiful golden retriever that so far already got teared down even worse. But like every time I saw that thing, I can remember the conversation that we had, remember the initial struggle, but remember the moment that we just put it through. So yeah. And I do believe, putting aside any kind of successful story, having the best team, the people that you trusted are willing to align with you in the early days, not only because of success, but because of your vision and belief, naturally organic coming. Now, don't even ask and say, hey, how are you going to pay me? What's my, I think that is the most something that is going to carry along for a very, very, very long time. Yeah.
Dude, that is like for all I recorded like 34 episodes already. This story is my top 3.
Thank you.
This is really good. And I think like really having like a co-founder that really matches your energy, understand what you're talking about, and especially you share the same vision, is such a, I'd say, rare case. You know what I mean? Because like not everyone can get like a co-founder like that. So I'm really, really happy for you. And I'm really happy like how far you guys come. And like in Chinese, we like to say like in early days of those 革命友谊, right? That is everything. The trust like even $1 billion can't buy that. You know what I mean? So thanks for that.
Yeah,
It's very inspiring.
I thanks for giving me the chance to share this story. I've never talked about this in public, first time, and I barely do interviews actually, like because of the DeFi sensitivity as well, But I figure nothing else matters more. Any kind of milestone, nothing matters more having the right people by your side. When things doesn't go right, you can just say, "Hey, bro, I'm really frustrating this. Let's have a chat." Like there are a lot of flashy things, always Web2, Web3 people project on top of screen, but fundamentally, we're all like just normal people, and I think be able to show your vulnerability to the trusted partners and people looking for help is just very important. Yeah.
And sometimes there are doors, so many beautiful things that could happen once you decided to open up. I really, really agree on that side.
Exactly. Yes.
So yeah, one last question before I let you go. Please share some really exciting things on Navi's roadmap. If I'm a retail user, right, how I can participate, how I can do stuff, how I can do lending and stuff. So please.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is my favorite part. Rambling on my personal story. We started Navi. We started this single brand doing lending back in 2023. This year, we just announced our rebranding of this multi-line of product branding, NAVI, each character representing like line of business that we're pushing aggressively on top of Sui network and eventually to the broader retail space. N stands for lending, which already sustained $700 million TVL, had around 1 million plus users, and had around 10 billion supply volume and 4 billion lending volume over the past 2 years since this launch. Really excited. We're adding more variety of interesting tokens, and launching on top of Sui has become very fortunately the lending protocol that sustained the most amount of volume and users in the history, not only in Sui, but in the history of the movement.
That's lit.
Yes.
That's lit.
Yes. So our smart contract has been the most longest running one. So I'm very proud of this. And the second one, NAVI, A stands for Astra, the swap aggregator, cross-chain swap that we have become the first one cross-chain swap to launch natively on top of Sui network, to really open the gate for more EVM users to engage and participate in the Sui DeFi opportunities. And the Astra symbolizes Mars, like Elon Musk and like Mars vision.
Love that.
Yeah, like I actually got inspired when my co-founder and I, we went to the Anima show in Vegas, the Sphere, this year. So this T-shirt is customized, made for as one of the
nice.
Anima merch as well. So the cross-chain aims to become this new nation that has a orange color that symbolizes, and like this energy, synergy, the vibes that get people going, like the astral word from Travis Scott. Really, really bullish. We launched the product November last year, has been reaching 450 million trading volume, and everybody loves the brand. Yeah, we're hopefully someday we can sponsor some gigantic Travis Scott level concert with that brand. So very, very excited. And this aims to be the Jupiter of the Sui. Yes.
That's awesome.
That will be really, really big. Yeah, and third brand is called Volo, which is a liquid staking brand we acquired early days. Now we're rebranding this to be the BTC-Fi LST hub. We're open the gate for more variety of BTC assets to stake and to engaging, like financial activity within Sui or even other ecosystem. The quick reference I can explain this is like, when a new nation is established, a lot of new wealth is attracted to this new nation by collateralizing their gold and silver, borrow out the local currency to establish transportation system, governance, institution-grade railroad ecosystem, as well as ice cream shops to help the new establish. That's how they acquire their new wealth. So we adopt the similar methodology for Volo. And last one, I stands for I don't know yet.
This is so cool, man. This is so cool.
Yeah, so I still don't know yet. Like, so for anyone watching this podcast, if you're interested in chatting about ideas, contributing, be part of this. Even new brands putting a definition behind this we're always here to chat. So yeah, like I would love to leave an empty space for me to constantly reflect and think about it.
Dude, I love the eye the most. Like in crypto, there's so many like so-called masters. You know what I mean? Like they know really, really little, but they do think they can predict the market. They can predict the future, know everything. Like you just really have to be modest, man. Like I love this. I love this.
Yes, so yeah,
Awesome.
sorry to disappoint the audience, but that is just I gotta be honest.
I also love like the previous questions was about like the stories, right? And then, like it's showing like the humanity part of you. And when we turn into this question, you're like super pumped up, like super professional. Like I love the shift, man. Like this is awesome.
Of course, gotta get the business done, man.
Let's go.
Yes.
So yeah, here we wrap up the Tales of Web3 Season 3, Episode 14 with the co-founder of NAVI, Elliscope. Thank you for hopping on, brother.
Thank you for having me, Ricky. I love your energy. It's a great to be here, and yeah, my DM is always open. So let me know if there's any questions. Cool. All right. Thank you, guys.